Nasdaq. Joining us for our monthly crypto segment, we have Scott Melker, the Wolf of All Streets, also the Wolf of All Streets podcast host. Scott, I can't believe it. Every time I see you, it's like a whole month has just went by, and of course, so much happens in the crypto space. Very different story when we were talking about Bitcoin in September versus where it is right now.
Absolutely. What a difference a month makes. But as you sort of alluded to, a month in crypto is like 10 years in any other market, it feels like. We had the historically slow September and summer, but as many like to call it, October. October started with a bang and seems that we're going to have a very strong Q4, which has generally historically been the case in the Bitcoin and crypto space. There's so many underlying fundamental reasons that this would likely happen. And I think that, people are just back at their desks and ready to go.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. We saw the same thing happen in the fourth quarter of last year as well. And we know it happened on January 1st of 2021, hitting that sweet 30,000 mark. But it's not even just Bitcoin, it's the altcoins that are performing as well.
Yeah, it's been just an exceptional market all around. A lot of the larger cap altcoins, especially Ethereum competitors and layer one projects, have really been booming. We just saw Polkadot announce that they have parachain auctions coming soon, which people have been waiting for almost 5 years since they wrote their white paper. So I think a lot of people are excited that that could be next. But Solana, Avalanche, Cardano, Elrond, we've seen all of them, break all-time highs and continue on. And I think we're going to start to see a lot more altcoins repeating that action.
And Scott, another thing that we're all waiting for, of course, is a Bitcoin ETF. They have them in Canada. What about the US?
I think we'll see a Bitcoin futures ETF very soon. Even Bloomberg analysts are pricing it in at a 75% chance by the end of the month, right? We know that ProShares is sort of leading the pack there. Valkyrie today updated their prospectus and added a ticker, not something that happens unless you're expecting approval soon. We know that VanEck is in the space. And actually, we've now even seen another physical Bitcoin ETF filed, and some claiming that that could also happen in the not so distant future. I think the futures based ETF is inevitable. Even Gensler has already alluded to the fact that it should happen. It's very similar to other ETFs that have been approved. And I think that's been largely driving a lot of the renewed institutional interest that we're seeing, and to some degree, this bull run that we've been in this month.
Right. Well, thanks for teeing up my next question for me. Perfect segue. We see more institutional adoption and more product that will hopefully be launched soon. What do you make of Jamie Dimon's comments? It doesn't seem to be as if he has much hope in Bitcoin.
Jamie Dimon, I think, is a classic example of watch what I do, not what I say, right? Because as much as he's talked badly about Bitcoin over the years, even to the point where, a few years ago, he said if anyone who worked for him even traded it, they would be fired. Well, they're offering it to their wealthy clients. They have their own coin for cross-border remittances, and they're heavily invested in a lot of things that are coming in the crypto space. So even as the CEO, I think it's a sort of his personal emotional opinion, but as a company, it's very clear that JP Morgan has exposure and is only increasing that exposure to the space. I don't know. I feel like he's emotionally attached to a negative position on Bitcoin at this point, but knows that if he doesn't get on the train, it's going to pass him by.
And Scott, just about a week ago, according to sources as reported by Bloomberg, the Biden administration is weighing an executive order on new rules related to Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Do you think this is going to gain any traction here? What could be the impact to the space?
I think it's a good thing, right? I think the biggest problem has not been what the regulation will be. It's the utter lack of clarity and direction. And so I think that a lot of people, especially the bigger money in the institutions, are just looking for an excuse to put their money in and looking for some clarity, as I said, and direction to know how they can do that safely without being at risk or without being, uncompliant to something that happens in the future, a regulation that hasn't even been passed. So I think that them getting their ducks in a row to actually say, well, this department is in charge of this, and this department is in charge of this is a very good thing, right? We don't even know if the SEC has authority, or if the CFTC has authority, and who has authority over what, and what's the security. It's a complete mess right now. So I think anything that gives us more clarity and direction is good.
All right. Scott, appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.